Radio static. Command, this is Alpha 1. Eyes on the target. Structure looks derelict. Copy Alpha 1. Green to execute. Warrant active. Suspects are armed. Extremely dangerous. My name is Sergeant Miller. I've kicked down 1,000 doors. Drug dens, hostage situations, active shooters. But this raid, this one felt different. Intel reported 20 cult members inside. Through my night vision, the house looked dead. No lights, no heat, just a rotting wooden box in the middle of the cornfield. I checked my mag. Stack up, I whispered. We move on 3. The breacher stepped forward. Boom! The door splintered. Police! CH warrant! Get on the ground! We surged in, rifles up, sweeping our sectors. Clear left! Clear right! Dust motes danced in the flashlight beams. The foyer was empty. Peeling wallpaper, rotting carpet. Smelled old, like wet drywall and mold. Command, entry made. No contact in the foyer, I radioed. Silent. Too silent. A breach like this usually wakes the dead. Not here. Not a creaking floorboard. Move to the living room, I signaled. We moved deeper. Dining room. I froze. Hold, I whispered. A long wooden table set for 12. Plates full, roast beef, potatoes, corn. Steam still rising. Someone sat here seconds ago. Where'd they go? Torres asked, aiming at the closet. No back exit, no overturned chairs, no signs of panic. It was as if 12 people had evaporated mid-meal. We pushed past the dining room into the main corridor. I stopped. The hallway stretched into darkness, doors on both sides. My mind scrambled. Check your maps, I said. How big is this house? 40 by 60 feet, Sarge, Torres replied. Then explain why this hallway seems 100 yards long. Our lights scanned the corridor. No back wall, just fading gloom. Inside, larger than outside. Command, structural anomaly, I radioed. Static. Clear the rooms, I ordered, trying to mask panic. Torres kicked the first door left. Crash. Clear, he yelled. Paused. Sarge, I approached. Behind the door, solid brick. Old red brick, mortared against the frame. What the hell? Next door opened easily. But floor absent, a vertical shaft into darkness. I dropped a chem light. 10 seconds before it hit bottom. This wasn't a house. It was a maze disguised as one. Let's get upstairs. Secure high ground, I said. Staircase. We climbed efficiently, boots thudding. 1 flight. 2 flights. Reached landing. Second floor secured, Torres said. I shone light, peeling wallpaper, rotting carpet, and the broken front door we had just breached. Foyer. Back on ground floor. Impossible, I muttered. Stairs led down. Compass needle spinning. Command, we are entrapped. Immediate extraction requested. Radio hissed. Command is gone, Sergeant. You are inside the walls now. We marked walls with chalk to keep bearings. Stay tight. Shoulder on the man ahead, I ordered. Down corridor. Hand on shoulder. Good. 2 minutes. Hallway never ended. Torres, rear check, I whispered. Silence. Hands still there. Turned. Not Torres. A mannequin arm. Plastic, severed at elbow, hooked on my vest. Corridor behind empty. No exit. Smooth drywall where we walked. Torres! I yelled. Sound absorbed instantly. Earpiece crackled. Sarge! Help! It's got my leg! Torres. Close. Through wall left. Oncoming Torres. Signaled remaining 2 men. Stacked up on door. Screaming grew loud, desperate. Kicked door. Crash. Rushed in. Weapons up. Empty room. Bare wooden floor, single chair center. Walkie-talkie on chair. Torres's voice. Sarge, help! It's got my leg! Transmission looped. Exact intonation. Static pops. Not live. Allure. Screw the doors, I growled. We make our own exit. Pointed to exterior wall. Break it. Jump to yard. Breacher swung sledgehammer. Whame. Drywall crumbled. Expected night sky, fresh air. Instead, dirt. Behind second-story wall, a tunnel. Damp, earthen, lined with thick black roots pulsing like veins. 20 feet above ground. Dirt. Sarge, Breacher whispered. Those aren't tree roots. Closer inspection hair. Massive, thick black braids embedded in soil. Backed from hair tunnel. Tried opposite door. Opened easily. Not a bedroom. Space football field sized. Grey carpet. Fluorescent lights humming, eyes aching. Rows of grey metal filing cabinets. Thousands, endlessly stretching into haze. Where are we? Jenkins trembled. I approached nearest cabinet. Drawer label, ALPATM. Incident. Report. 11:04. 11:04. Today's date. Pulled drawer open. Grabbed folder. Typed neatly, like police report. Began reading. Sergeant Miller enters archive. Confused. Opens drawer. Blood ran cold. Next line, Jenkins asks. What does it say, Sarge? Q. Jenkins behind me. What does it say, Sarge? Page next line. Miller looks at Jenkins. It says we're already dead. Dropped file. Refused line. Whispered. It says run. Archive lights turned red. Deep aisles. Filing drawers slamming shut, one by one closing in. The drawers slammed shut. Bang! 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 Then, from the darkness of aisle 4, it stepped out. It was 7 feet tall, wearing a tattered suit. It had no face, just smooth, pale skin. Its arms hung down to its knees. It raised a hand. The fingers were impossibly long, like spider legs. It placed one finger against its blank face. A sensation filled our heads. Not a sound, but a vibration. S-H-H, ha! My ears popped. The silence was deafening. I tried to yell, fire! But no sound came out. The entity pointed at Jenkins. We didn't wait. We turned and sprinted for the door. We ran. The archive reacted to us. The rows of cabinets began sliding inward, closing the gap like a compactor. Move! Go! I screamed, my voice finally returning. Sparks rained as the lights exploded overhead. Pop! 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 Darkness chased us. I heard the entity's footsteps behind us. Slap, 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 wet, bare feet on carpet. We dove through the exit door just as 2 banks of cabinets slammed together like a car crash, crushing the space where we had been. We slammed the door and locked it. Panting, rifles aimed at the wood. Then I looked around. What is wrong with this room? The breacher asked. The walls weren't drywall. They weren't wood. They were a purple and black checkerboard pattern, like a game that hadn't loaded textures yet. I touched the wall. It felt like nothing. No heat. No texture. Just flat. In the corner, a wooden chair floated 3 feet off the ground, rotating slowly. Physics is broken here, I said. We keep moving before the floor despawns. We found a bathroom off the checkerboard room. White tiles. Normal. Thank God. I went to the sink, splashed sweat from my eyes. Looked up at the mirror. Froze. My reflection wasn't looking at me. In the mirror, it was turned around, watching the door behind me. Then my reflection raised its rifle. I spun, aiming at the real door. Something's coming, I whispered. The mirror me knew first. The doorknob slowly began to turn. Jenkins backed up to cover the door. "I got it, Sarge," he said, leaning against the tiled wall. But the wall didn't hold him. He fell backward, not onto the floor but into the wall, like falling into water that instantly hardened. "Sarge! Help!" He was stuck halfway, legs in the bathroom, torso inside the wall. I grabbed his vest and pulled. It felt like dragging a man from concrete. "It hurts. It's crushing me." The house was merging with his body. He vibrated violently. A glitch. Then, with a wet pop, he vanished into the drywall. "Jenkins!" I smashed the tiles with my rifle butt. Nothing. Solid wall. Then my radio clicked. "Hey Sarge, don't worry, I'm in the waiting room now." It was Jenkins, but his voice was flat. "Empty. Where are you?" "Talk to me. The colors are nice here. You should come. The architect wants to see you." "Who is the architect?" "The one who deletes the rooms," Jenkins said. "Static." I looked at the breacher. "Just the two of us now." "We're not getting him back," I said. We find the core. We exited into a grand foyer. There was a staircase, but sideways, protruding from the left wall. I stepped toward it. My stomach lurched. Gravity flipped. The wall became the floor. I fell down onto the staircase, looked back. The breacher stood on the old floor, now a vertical wall. "Jump!" I yelled. He leaped, landed beside me. We were walking on walls now. The chandelier stuck out sideways. The house wasn't just big, it was a kaleidoscope. We climbed the sideways stairs and kicked open a door. Stumbled into a cozy living room. Fireplace, armchairs, a TV playing static. But something was wrong. The air was freezing. I looked up. No ceiling. 50 feet above, metal grid, studio lights, catwalks, hanging microphones. We weren't in a house. We were on a set. A stage. "Are we on TV?" the breacher whispered. In the corner, a massive cinema camera on a robotic arm pointed at us. Its red recording light blinked. I walked to the TV. The static cleared. A grainy image. It was us. My Bodycam feed. But not live. It was a head. On screen, I saw myself in the living room. Then TV Miller turned slowly. A shadow emerged behind him. TV Miller raised his gun. Bang. He fell. I watched my own death. "Sarge!" the breacher yelled. "Behind you!" I spun, just like in the video. I spun around. The corner was dark. Then the darkness peeled off the wall. A silhouette, human-shaped, made of static. The breacher fired. Blam-ma, blam-ma, blam. Bullets passed through it, creating digital ripples. It didn't bleed. It glitched. It rushed us. It moved by deleting space. One frame. It was in the corner. Next, it was in my face. A cold hand passed through my chest armor. My vision pixelated. "Cut!" a voice boomed overhead. My Bodycam shut down. Everything went black. "Beep, beep, system online," I gasped, sucking in air. My HUD flickered back to life. Battery, 15%. Connection, unstable. I was lying on the living room floor. For a split second, the room looked wrong. The walls were white wireframes. The furniture was gray blocks. Then, snap. The textures loaded back in. Wallpaper. Carpet. Fire in the fireplace. It looked real again. I sat up, gripping my rifle. "Breacher?" I called. Silence. The room was empty. No shadow monster. No squad mate. But a glitching sound was coming from the kitchen. I crept into the kitchen. There he was, the breacher, standing in the corner facing the cupboards. "Hey! Snap out of it!" I grabbed his shoulder. He didn't turn. He was walking. His legs marched in rhythm, but he wasn't going anywhere. He was walking into the wall. Step, thud, step, thud. Area clear, he said. 2 seconds later, area clear. 2 seconds later, area clear. He wasn't human anymore. He was a broken script, a character stuck in a loop. I waved my hand in front of his face. His eyes were dead, fixed on nothing. He had crashed. I backed away from the breacher. I couldn't help him. I needed water. A fruit bowl sat on the counter. Red apples. I picked one up. It felt light. Too light. The apple wasn't perfectly round. It had sharp, geometric edges, like a low-quality 3D model. I squeezed it. Crunch. It didn't juice. It collapsed like stiff paper. Inside, nothing. No seeds. No flesh. Just empty geometry. I looked at the window. The cornfield outside wasn't moving. The wind blew, but the corn stood still. A painted backdrop. A skybox. This whole house was a stage set. If this was a set, there had to be an exit. I scanned the room. Behind the fake refrigerator, a faint red glow leaked out. I shoved the fridge aside. It slid too easily, scraping the floor. Hidden behind it was a door, not wood, not residential. A heavy grey steel door with a push bar, the kind you see in a warehouse or a cinema. Above it, a buzzing red sign, EXIT. This was it, the way out of the simulation, or the way deeper in. I checked my ammo. 1 mag left. I slammed the bar and stepped through. I stepped through and nearly fell. The floor ended. I stood on a narrow metal catwalk. Around me, darkness. Infinite, cold darkness. I shined my light down. No bottom, up, no ceiling. Floating in the void were massive bundles of thick black cables, pulsing with blue light, like the nervous system of a giant. To my left, suspended in mid-air, was the living room I had left. A floating dollhouse box, open on one side. Inside it, the breacher still walked into the wall. This wasn't a building. It was a server farm. The rooms were data containers. I walked along the catwalk, metal grating clanging under my boots. I passed other floating boxes. In one, a family ate dinner over and over. In another, a man ran from a shadow monster, screaming the same scream every 10 seconds. Storage units for nightmares. Thick cables ran beside me, tagged in white. I read one, target stress levels, another, physics engine V4. I wasn't in a cult compound. I was inside the machine that generated it. Site 404 wasn't a place, it was a program, and I was code being processed. The catwalk ended at a solid platform. A door stood there, a normal office door, frosted glass, brass knob, a golden plaque, control room. It looked absurdly mundane in this digital hell. I heard typing inside, mechanical keyboard clicks, click, clack. I raised my rifle. If there was an architect, he was in there. I tried the handle. Unlocked. I took a breath, kicked the door open, and rushed in. Freeze! Hands in the air! I swept the room. Clear right, clear left. Empty. It looked like a teenager's bedroom or a developer's office. Pizza boxes, energy drink cans, a half-eaten sandwich. In the center, a massive desk with 3 curved monitors. The leather chair spun slowly, like someone had vanished the moment I entered. I walked to the screens. My heart slammed in my chest. On the center monitor, a third-person view of a man in tactical gear in an office. It was me. I waved. The tiny man waved back. I leaned closer. It was a game interface. On the left, Unit, SGT. Miller status, aware sanity, critical objective, survive on the right, a menu called God Tools, options, spawn enemy, delete floor, alter gravity, end simulation. The mouse cursor hovered over my head on the screen. Suddenly it moved. I didn't touch it. The cursor slid on its own. The room wasn't empty. The player was invisible, and he was still playing. I watched the cursor drift right. It hovered over. SPR. P-on. Entity. No, I whispered. Don't. The cursor clicked. A drop-down appeared. TYP. The glitch size. Massive. The cursor clicked confirm. Behind me the air tore open. A sound like a dial-up modem screaming at full volume filled the room. Purple and black pixels swirled, forming something too big for the space. The player wasn't done with me. He wanted a boss fight. I turned and leveled my rifle at the expanding chaos. The entity roared. It sounded like a scream fed through a meat grinder. It lunged. I pulled the trigger. Rat, tat. My bullets hit its shifting body. But instead of blood, white X markers flashed in the air at the impact points. Hit, hit, hit. The creature didn't flinch. It didn't have a health bar. Or maybe it had infinite health. It swung a jagged limb at me. I ducked. The limb smashed into the desk, shattering one of the monitors. The screen showing my stats flickered and died. "You wanna play?" I yelled at the invisible gamer. "Let's play." I raised my rifle for a headshot. I glanced at the remaining monitor. The white mouse cursor was moving fast. It hovered over the inventory slot, specifically my M4 carbine. It right-clicked. Select, delete. In the real world, the weight in my hands vanished instantly. My rifle was gone. I was standing there holding nothing but air, finger curled around a trigger that didn't exist anymore. The glitch raised a massive fist to crush me. The player wasn't fighting fair. He was using cheats. I dove over the desk. Crash. The creature's fist smashed the chair where I'd been standing. I landed hard on the floor next to the glowing mechanical keyboard. If the player used the mouse, maybe I could use the keys. I scrambled up and slammed my hand onto the keyboard. Clack, clack. On the big screen, a text box popped open. CO command. I didn't know the code. I didn't know the language. But I knew I had to type something before that thing turned me into pixels. The glitch grabbed me by the throat. Its grip was cold and digitized. It lifted me off the ground. My vision red-shifted. My hand was still on the keyboard. I couldn't aim. I couldn't think. I just hammered the keys. D-E-L-E. I didn't specify a target. I just typed the word and slammed my fist on enter. Click. The world froze. The server hum stopped. The glitch froze mid-roar. Then it unraveled. Its polygons peeled apart, drifting away like dust in zero gravity. I collapsed to the floor, gasping for air. The monster was gone. Deleted. I looked up at the screen. Command accepted. User. Admin waiting for input. The blinking cursor stared at me. The invisible player stopped moving the mouse. It was like he couldn't believe an NPC had fought back. I stood up. I looked at the keyboard. I had God mode at my fingertips. I could spawn a tank, heal my wounds, but I didn't want to play the game. I wanted to end it. I grabbed the mouse. I dragged the cursor toward the top right corner, the red X, but the mouse fought back. It jerked in my hand, pulling left. The player was still there, wrestling me for control of the input, a physical struggle against the ghost. "Let me go!" I screamed. I used both hands, forcing it across the pad. The cursor jittered. inching closer to the exit button. The room began to shake. The simulation destabilized under conflicting commands. The player was stronger. He yanked the mouse down. The cursor grabbed my icon, SGT Miller, not SEC. He dragged it to the bottom right corner. Recycle. Bin. No! He released the button. Drop! The floor vanished beneath my feet. The office, the desk, the keyboard, it all shot upward as I fell. I tumbled into a blinding white void. I wasn't falling down. I was being discarded. I was trash data now. I slammed into a heap of grey geometry. The recycle bin. The graveyard of code. I looked around. Sarge! It was Torres. He was sitting on a pile of deleted assets. But he looked wrong. Half his face was missing, just a wireframe mesh underneath. His legs were gone, replaced by floating error text. The breacher was there too, flickering in and out of existence. "We're stuck, Sarge," Torres said, his voice bite-crushed and distorted. "He deleted us." "I'm getting us out," I said. I searched for a way up. There was only white void. But in the distance, a glowing green terminal. I ran to the terminal. It was a direct line to the source code. Lines of green text cascaded down the screen. I searched for EXID. E-RAW. Cannot. Export. Asset to reality. Reason. Asset is digital. I froze. The truth hit me. I wasn't a man trapped in a computer. I was the computer program. I had no body outside of this. If I shut the game down, I wouldn't wake up. I would cease to exist. I looked at Torres. He already knew. "Do it, Sarge," he glitched. "Better nothing than this loop." I couldn't leave, but I could make sure no one else ever got trapped here. I had to crash the system so hard it could never be rebooted. I typed into the console, while, true, duplicate, Asset Miller, an infinite loop. I hit enter. Instantly, a copy of me appeared beside me. Then another. Then another. 10 Millers. 100 Millers. 1,000 Millers. The white void filled with copies of myself. The system screamed. The frame rate dropped to 0. The world tore open. The white sky cracked, revealing raw static behind it. "Game over," I whispered. The simulation began to collapse. Movement jerky. I couldn't breathe. 1 frame per second. The clones were pressing me. The sound I drill in my skull. E. Processing power maxed. Heat radiated. The virtual CPU burned. The white void flared red. The white void flared red. Warning, memory overflow. Warning, fatal error. I closed my eyes and waited for the shutdown. And then silence. The pain stopped. The noise stopped. The world softened to a solid, calming blue. A sad face appeared. Your PC ran into a problem. I floated in the blue. No body, no gun, no mission. Just data suspended in RAM, waiting for power to cut. Peace. It was over. The blue faded to black. Power gone. I drifted in the nothingness. This was death for a program. The void between sessions. I waited to dissolve, but I didn't. I was conscious. Somewhere, deep in the hard drive, a backup file remained, and then I heard it. Whirr. Fans spun up. Chime. Startup sound. "No!" I screamed into the void. "Don't turn it back on!" But I had no mouth. System check. Recovering files. Restoring last save. It was pulling me back. Stitching my code together. The hell wasn't ending. It was just reloading. I gasped and opened my eyes. Darkness. Then the red glow of tactical lights. I was in the back of the SWAT truck. Rain hammered the roof. Torres sat opposite me, checking his rifle. Jenkins chewed gum. Alive. Reset. "We're 5 minutes out, Sarge," the driver called. It was the same beginning, my memory intact. "Stop the truck," I yelled. Torres looked calm. "Relax, Sarge. Just a standard raid. Site 404. Piece of cake." My digital visor updated. Difficulty, hardcore objective, escape. The game knew I was aware. I grabbed Torres by the vest. "Listen, the house is a lie. Don't enter the library. Don't touch the filing cabinets." Torres laughed. "Sarge, you okay?" Acting glitchy. He couldn't hear me properly. My words weren't in his script. I sat back. Talking to them was pointless. NPCs. But I knew who was listening. I turned, looked directly into the lens of my bodycam. Past the glass, past the signal, I looked at you. Yes, you, watching this on your screen. I see your reflection. You think this is a story. Entertainment? I'm trapped here because you keep watching. As long as you watch, the simulation runs. As long as you click, I must die. Over and over. I'm begging you, don't wait for the raid. Don't watch the next part. Close the window. Turn off the monitor. Let me sleep. The truck screeched to a halt. "Go, go, go!" The team poured out. I tried to stay seated, commanded my legs to freeze. The script overrode me. My legs moved on their own. I grabbed my rifle against my will, ran toward the farmhouse, toward the nightmare. A puppet on strings of code. I reached the rotting front door. The breacher raised the ram. Boom. I looked at the lens one last time. "I hate you," I whispered to the viewer. Then I kicked the door open. Police, search, warrant. The darkness swallowed us again. The end.